Brought into this world by slime rancher Beatrix LeBeau, Snuffles' consciousness began after the combination of pink slime and tabby plort. Beatrix knew immediately that he was destined for greatness, and resolved herself to bringing out his true potential. Volunteering himself to be a crop tender and taste tester, as to only allow the best fruits and veggies be used around the ranch. He took pride in his work, often spending hours a day allowing fruit that had fallen too soon to ripen in his mouth, or allowing Beatrix to take it. But Snuffles knew he was meant for more than just gardening. During his first encounter with the puddle slime, only one thought could cross Snuffles' mind: wonder. How slime could so graciously float across the top of the water and dive beneath its surface to hide, he could not yet understand. But he knew right then he would learn their ways and dive as gracefully as they did. He began working out a plan in his mind, but it would take some time to be realized. Snuffles and Beatrix grew close during their time on the farm together, enjoying the other's company, playing games of slime ball and tag, and being a warm comfort for the other. As the days passed, their bond became stronger, and the two were inseparable. Snuffles began to think of Beatrix as his family, a maternal figure that he cared much for. She was his most trusted friend, and he turned to her with his grandiose idea. She agreed, and they set to work on Snuffles' gear. With the help of slime science expert and famed slimulation creator Victor Humphreys, Beatrix was able to devise and create a specially tailored breathing apparatus, or scuba kit, for Snuffles. The design was created to accommodate for the viscous and slimy texture of Snuffles' body, as to allow the gear to remain motionless and tightly fastened in place on Snuffles' head. With the gear created, his training began. Beginning with a shallow pond Beatrix created next to the lab, Snuffles took his first steps into the water. As soon as he touched it, he knew that this was where he was meant to be. Hopping along happily along the banks of the enclosure, Snuffles dived forward, submerging himself beneath the surface, bubbles rising with each breath he took. Joy filling his eyes and excitement his heart, Snuffles spent the rest of the day playing in the water, feeling a sort of happiness he'd never known before. Snuffles understood how close his dream was to being realized. It feels just within reach. There's one more thing he needs to do before he can venture into the deep blue slime sea, however. He turns to his role models for advice. The puddle slime happily take Snuffles under their wing and begin to teach him the secret ways of their kind. They show him different swimming strokes and underwater maneuvers to stay directed and upright. He trains hard and eventually masters the puddle technique. Snuffles graciously thanks the kind puddle slime and is finally ready for his real expedition. With the vast ocean ahead of him, Snuffles is filled with determination and takes a deep breath. Beatrix picks him up and gives him a tight hug. They don't know how long he'll be gone for, but she knows he'll be okay. Beatrix grips her backpack, grabs Snuffles, and sends him off into the depths. The cool breeze against Snuffles' face is soon replaced with cold water. He turns on his headlamp and begins his exploration. Who knows what secrets could be out here, he thinks to himself. After 2 long weeks of venturing across the ocean floor, Snuffles begins his journey home. His backpack food supply needs refilling, so he makes his way towards a small inlet just offshore of the mainland. Snuffles notices a glowing light coming from up ahead. He knows he's too far from the shore to see any of Beatrix's tech out here. What could it be? As Snuffles draws closer, the brightness grows, and he can begin to make out the features across the object's surface. He immediately recognizes it as a treasure pod. Its purple-green casing rusted and worn from the ocean's cruel toll. He activates the release, and inside is the largest diamond he had ever seen. Snuffles takes it with his backpack and rushes home. Leading his very own team, Snuffles travels back to the site of the treasure pod. After a few days of excavation, they reveal that Snuffles had discovered the final location of a long-lost cargo vessel that had been making its way across the solar system a very long time ago. The ship is uncovered, and its contents donated to the Slime Museum of History. Snuffles returns to the farm content. He achieved what he'd always dreamed of doing, and he was happy. A few days later, Beatrix received a letter requesting her and Snuffles at the museum. They both agreed to go. Head bowed low, Snuffles receives a medal for his discovery, and is granted the honorary title of Master Scuba Diver. The exhibit is prefaced with a small portrait of Snuffles, and a brief excerpt on his dedication to the job. The whole world would remember him as the discovering party of the vessel, and his legacy would live on for generations. Returning to the farm with Beatrix, Snuffles scoots over to the garden and takes up his post, happy to have the quiet familiarity of the ranch surrounding him once again. The adventuring part of his soul had been fulfilled, and all he wanted now was a peaceful life with Beatrix on the ranch. As the sun set in the distance, Snuffles climbed onto his #1 slime platform, for once, actually believing that the title was fitting, and gazed into the stars above him. The endless universe above him needed exploring, but he felt that was a job better left for someone else. Snuffles thought of his big discovery, and drifted off into a peaceful slumber, returning himself to the serenity he had once known, eager for the peace and calm that tomorrow would bring.